Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Mark Bischoff, the CEO of Starnet. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Kemp. It's wonderful to see you again. We always seem to meet in very nice places.
This is definitely a nice place. We're out here at the Fairmont Princess Hotel in Scottsdale. This is your big spring annual meeting for Starnet. I know we were just together a couple of weeks ago and talked a little bit about the market, but I want to catch up with you about what you're hearing from the members since you've been here a couple of days already. Big meeting. People have a lot of smiles on their faces because you're giving everybody a rebate check, and this is related to 22, and 22 was a fantastic year in the commercial market, so there's some big checks going out, right?
Yes, the members did a great job, and their goal is to move as much of their purchases in network as possible. And if they do that well, they have a good return, and the vendors participate in that by having outstanding growth. So last year was great for everyone, and we executed, and the members will be very happy with their return.
And while we're hearing from the supply side that there's already some softness they're feeling, there's more of a backlog on the contractor side. And I talked to Cheryl earlier this week. I just ran into Richard Friedman, and it sounds like the backlog is really driving some strong business right now, right?
Yes, most of the members are comfortable with this year. There were a few stops and starts in certain weeks because the comparisons are difficult to last year, but all of the members have expressed confidence about 23. Some of them are very confident about 24, and that's very regional and depends on what kind of business they're in. They don't like the headlines. They don't like the chatter. They don't like the financing questions we're having or the debate in Washington around the debt ceiling. But in general, they're feeling pretty good, and it's against very difficult comparisons from last year.
I know you've got ITR, the economists coming, and they're going to tell us what the horizon has in store for us. There are some thoughts that there might be 2 negative GDP quarters in 24. We'll have to see. Business is good now, and people are smiling. That's good. Tell us a little bit about this meeting, the theme, and some of the details.
So we have some continuation from our last meeting where we had a focus on attracting and retaining talent, productivity enhancements, and deploying technology to scale all of that. The theme this year is play to win, and that's around the repeatability of all of those things and making sure that the members are following some of the standards that our manufacturers follow to keep the quality up and making sure things are repeatable. I think sometimes in our industry we say, well, every job is different. I don't necessarily agree with that because you can draw up plays and repeat them over and over again and gain a lot of success out of that.
All right, listen, quick about you for a second. This is your 4th meeting at the helm of Starnet. This group came here in 19, and you've been running it since the next meeting. We've got a little bit of the changing of the guard here. Chuck Bodie, the chairman, had another year. He could have held that position, but he sent you a resignation letter, no surprise. Most of the past chairmen have done this, so he served 5 years. He's stepping down. Right now, the vice chair is Steve Cloud. Membership has to vote. There's also a slate of members that are up. I guess it's Skip Mancini and Dave Trepke and Ellen Zucker. That all has to be approved Saturday, right?
Yes, so the slate went out to the members. They formally vote. We've collected all the votes. The deadline was last week. However, we don't reveal it until Saturday per the bylaws. And that's where the membership will understand who's going to be part of their board for 2023 and going forward.
So Chuck carried this organization through COVID. Kudos to him for that. And also through, a couple of interesting changes as far as Diversify becoming big and the acquisition of Spectra. There's been, a couple of probably sleepless nights, but he's done a good job, right?
Yes, so there was a lot of turmoil in the industry in the last few years, primarily because of the disruption around the pandemic and the commercial office business being so unpredictable. And now we're starting to normalize, but the disruption in the channel at almost every level, there was a lot of acquisitions in manufacturing, some bankruptcies, same thing in wholesale distribution, and then in our membership. And hopefully we see this as a ongoing trend. We've talked in the past that when a member is a successful business and their family doesn't want to take it on, what do? We do have some success stories where employees will take over businesses, and adding private equity into the mix has given membership some interesting possibilities, and Diversify is a great example of that.
Certainly the loss of the largest segment, or the downturn of the largest segment, the office segment, is one that we're all watching. You know, you're watching the news almost every day, whether or not people are going to go back to work and whether or not they're going to stay and work remotely. And that's been a big question mark for what we might see down the road, right?
Yes, and we've had very direct conversations with the vendors around this topic. No one has the answer of what will happen, but this is part of this play to win. Our communication with the manufacturers has to be crisp and it has to be systemized. And that all sounds very clinical, but in uncertain times, you have got to block and tackle. You have to do basic things. And our members need to be tied in with the manufacturer's representative. We have to have shared goals. We have to have visibility when we're failing each other, and we have to correct those things. And there has to be a system in place to achieve success. So we're really pushing on that from both sides. We know that the vendors are hyper aware of what we're trying to accomplish. We talk to them about it all the time. And of course, talent is where it's got to happen in the field, and both with our membership and their people that actually do the work and make the business successful, and the field people from the manufacturers. They have to be tied together, and they have to be doing good things every month, every quarter, every year to get the numbers.
You know, the energy at this meeting, the spring meeting, is high. This is one of those work hard, play hard type meetings. You have a huge ties and dresses required design awards event tomorrow night, which is always fun. You've also got some retirements to celebrate. Run us through those real quick.
Yeah, so the Design Awards on Friday is a celebration and the collaboration between the architectural and design community, our contractor members, and the vendors in executing incredible spaces. We will recognize some of the retirements. Obviously, Chuck has formally announced his retirement to the organization, so we have the details on that. We also have some longtime Starnet members, and I have less detail here, so this could get me in trouble, but Ralph Grove from CCA Floors and Interiors has told many of his friends in the membership and Starnet that he's planning on retiring this year. He's been a great Starnet member for a long time. Jim Burke from Allegheny, one of our top members in a really incredible company that Jim has built for the family there. He's retiring, and this unfortunately may be his last Starnet meeting. And Joe Camilleri from BT Mancini, this may also be his last Starnet meeting, so we'll say a few words for those folks.
And they continue as organizations to be members, just those leaders step down, right?
That's true, yeah. These are individual people that are retiring, not companies.
Yeah. And then you have a vendor that's going to retire later this year, right?
Yes, another friend of Starnet, Jim McCallum from Milliken. We've been told that he's retiring, so we're going to recognize him so that his friends can say goodbye. This will probably be his last meeting as well.
All right, Mark. Well, thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. Give us a preview for what's going to happen the next couple of days. Again, been talking to Mark Bischoff, the president and CEO of Starnet, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.